Right, salvete. It's nice to be with you again, even in this diminished capacity. So today we're just going to take a real fast look at Latin poetry. You should have already watched a couple of videos on this. Hopefully you've done some poetry in the past. Today I really specifically want to look into syllables and why they're important to poetry and how we can define them a little bit better. So, what do you already know about poetry? Some of the first things that you learn as a child come in the form of poetry. Dr. Seuss is a great example, but even just nursery rhymes, um, or even a little bit more adult, like Edgar Allan Poe, or even some really strange poetry, like E. E. Cummings. He wrote a bunch of poems that they don't rhyme, they don't particularly have a whole lot of meter to them. It's still poetry in the loose sense of the word. Yeah, what do they all have in common? What are some of the ways that they're different from each other? And again, I'd like to encourage you, if you haven't watched those two videos yet, they're kind of in the wrong order there, but the Pleasure Poetic Poem, I think you should probably watch first. It's more about why poetry works and how it speaks to us. The second one about that's really more about the nuts and bolts of poetry and the meter and how things work. So watch those. Latin poetry isn't about those stresses though. It's about syllable length, how long it takes you to say a syllable, one syllable over another one, and which should be pretty clear because we've been using long marks over vowels since Latin 1, right? So those long marks, they're not just there for fun. You really should be pronouncing those a little bit longer. So Roman poets, they use combinations of long syllables, or rather syllables with long vowels in them and syllables with short vowels in them to make a pattern. So unlike the English where it's the stress and the unstress, it's how long it takes you to say a particular word. Let me just give you an example, right? So this is from the first line of the Aeneid. Arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus ab oris. I'll read that again. I'll try to highlight those longs even longer. Arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus ab oris. So bum 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 bum. It's not as, to our English ears, it's not as soothing a pattern as the English ba-bum 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 ba-bum, but that's how it worked in Latin and in Greek as well. Greeks actually came up with all this. That's how it sounded good to them. Bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum, kind of stuff like that. All right, so that's just some background about how we're going to be addressing these syllables. So let's get into a syllable. Just what is a syllable, right? Hopefully you know what these are. We've been doing syllables since kindergarten, right? You would have a word and we would clap them out. Bum bum bum. Umbrella. Right? So you look at umbrella, you can umbrella. It's got 3 syllables in it. How about microphone? Microphone. Oh, that's got 3. But I have a question for you. Where do those syllables start and stop? Is it umbrella, or maybe it's umbrella? How do we split this word? How do we know where these syllables split? And as a point, in fact, this little animation I got going here, I disagree where they put the split. At that last word, or rather at that last syllable, the LLA. No, that's not. I don't think that's right. They're the 3 rules of syllables. Well, there's actually 4 rules, but on your PDF, I only made 3 rules because I went back and thought about it. And it's like, well, maybe this first rule really should be a rule. So I'll make it rule not, or rule 0. It's the rule that you should already know. Every syllable must contain one vowel sound. So that's a vowel sound is either a vowel, like A, E, I, O, U, or Y, or a diphthong, like those are two vowels that make one sound, like AE makes the I sound, or AU makes the aw sound. Those count as one vowel sound. So that's rule 0. So let's do some examples. All right, so potato. All right, how many vowel sounds are in that? Well, we can clap it out first. Potato. All right, it's got 3 vowel sounds, therefore it has 3 syllables. How about this? Onomatopoeia. It's got 6 syllables in there. Oh my god. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. That's got 12 syllables in there. I. Hey, that's a syllable. It's got 1 vowel sound. Doesn't have to have any consonants in there at all. It must have a vowel. All right. Rule number 1. Consonants, they would rather begin a syllable than end one, if at all possible. So let's look at our example from before. Potato. Here we go. This T in here, it would rather begin a syllable than end one. We're going to put that T with the second syllable. Ta. And then we get to this next T. Again, it has a choice. It can start the next syllable, and so it does. Po, te, to. There we go. Perfect. All right, this one had 6, I believe. This N here, it would rather start a syllable than end one, so it's going to go to the next syllable. This M wants to start. This T wants to start. This P wants to start. All these all these consonants here, they want to start syllable. And then that OE right there, that's one of those diphthongs that I was talking about. IA is another diphthong. 2 diphthongs in a row. So all of those consonants in there, they wanted to start a syllable, and they had the opportunity to. Let's look at our last example. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. Oh man, we have a problem here. We have consonants that want to start a syllable, but they're more than one. What am I going to do with these? It's time for rule number 2. You split consecutive consonants unless they fall into this protected category, if they make a single sound. So those things are like CH, right? It makes the ch sound. Well, in English, it makes the ch sound. In Latin, it just makes a k sound. PH makes a single sound. In English, it makes the th sound. In Latin, it makes a p sound. QU makes a single sound. Qua. STs. SH. TH. Those make single sounds. But there are also these exceptions. There are a lot of exceptions. If a consonant it's called a stop consonant. So stop consonants are when your mouth actually stops, like p or b, right? P, B, T, D, K are hard C, and G. Those are stop consonants. If a stop consonant is followed by what's called a liquid consonant, and liquid consonants are the letter L and the letter R, then it counts as one sound. So let's say PL, pull, BR, burr, maybe CR, cur. Those count as one. Let's go back to the anti-disestablishmentarianism. Okay. In here, we have lots of consonants, consecutive consonants, NT, ST, BL, SHM, NT. We've got a couple of those in there. Let's see if we have any of these protected ones that make a single sound. And we do. We have 3. So these 3 examples cannot be split. They stick together. Taking that under advisement, let's see if we can do this. So NT, it's not a protected group, and so that can be split. The N has to go with the last one, and the T wants to start the next one. This D is okay. We don't have a problem with that. The S, no problem there. ST cannot be split, and so the whole thing starts the next one. BL cannot be split, and so it starts the next one. And then we have this SHM. Remember, SH can't be split, but SH can be split away from M. So SH has to go with this last one. M starts the next one. NT can be split. No problem there. No problem there. Nism. Oops. Oh, I forget that S in there. Nism. That's a fun consonant. Rule number 2, split them if you can. Leave them if they're protected. Rule number 3, prefixes generally stay together as long as they only have one vowel sound. These are prefixes like pre and per and pri and post and trans. Right, so we see, especially in this last one, we have an S. You don't split that up. There are some prefixes that don't work for this. Those are more than one vowel. Things like inter and anti and peri and kirkum. You can't keep those together. They have more than one vowel sound, and that violates rule number 1. So those go away. All right, here are all your rules. Rule not. Syllables must contain one vowel sound. Rule number 1. Consonants would rather begin a syllable than end a syllable, whenever possible. Rule number 2. Split consecutive consonants unless they belong to that protected group, unless they make one sound by themselves. Rule number 3. Monovowel prefixes, they stay together. So, all right, let's try some. Keeping in mind our 3 + 1 rules. Akittere. 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 It's got 4 syllables in there. How are we going to split this? Well, I don't see anything working backwards. I don't see a prefix. I do see double consonants, and they're not protected. So so I got 4 in here. Akittere. No problem there. Easy peasy. Ooh, amplexus. 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 It's got 3 vowel sounds in there. It's got 3 syllables. I don't see a prefix. I see 1 double consonant that's protected, and I see another double consonant that's going to give us some troubles because we can't split it. So that PL is a stop consonant followed by a liquid. I can't split that. So how am I going to deal with this? I'm going to keep it together. Amplexus. There's that X. I can't split that, so I'm just going to throw the entire thing onto the last syllable. Pretend it's one consonant that wants to start on the next one. Demonstratus. Demonstratus. Sounds like 4 syllables to me. So how am I going to do this? Working backwards, I do see a prefix. There's an ST in there that makes 1 sound. And so let's see how we're going to do that. Yeah. That ST and the R, they've got to all go together. R is a liquid anyway, and so it's okay to just let that go. Last one. I think the last one. No, I got 2 more. Parago. I don't have to clap this one out. I see 3 vowels, 3 sounds. Oh, I see a prefix. I got per in there. There's nothing else going on. Per's got to stay together. Per, go. A syllable can just be a letter by itself. That's fine, as long as it's a vowel. There's no problem there. And last word. Voluptatibus. I got to clap this one out. Voluptatibus. Voluptatibus. 5 syllables. Okay, so let's just do that. Voluptatibus. This is how you split apart words properly. And this is going to be important for the reasons that we were talking about before, for those long syllables and those short syllables. It's important to be able to recognize what a syllable is before you can give it weight, before you can give it quality, before you can give it those long and short assessments. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, let me know. Write them down. You can email them to me, or you can share them when we meet. And I guess that's it. So, Wale.